Hi, this is Dana, and on this channel I speak about spiritual warfare. In this video, God guided me to speak about a different dimension which I researched, and indeed this is beneficial, namely the overall dimension, stepping outside of the individual level, right? Because as I said before, uh, when I initially found out, I was outraged because the injustice was so big, and I was outraged by the fact that essentially they have a determination to steal everything from us, to incriminate us with fake accusations, and it's a whole industry. They cover everything. As I said in another video, you have different layers of convents which actually still rise from you, beginning with your family, continuing with your neighborhood, with your friends, with your colleagues from school or work, with your work environment, with your everything, basically every single field of your life. No matter where you turn, you find this kind of betrayal, this kind of criminal activity, which basically is feeding on you, mafia style. And to me, it was like, okay, I need to, now that I calmed down, I finished the money to fight with them by spending the money. Basically, what I was doing by spending the money according to Jesus' guidance, I was sending back to them all the demonic and spirit attachments which they created on my money. Okay, but when I finished the money, I was like, okay, now I'm done with this. Explain to me the broader picture. And then, of course, God showed me how they stole other rights and how your own spouse will do this. And basically, God showed me that they go further. They plan ahead of time. And even the marriage or the relationship which you think you create is actually created by them. So the individual with whom you married was recruited before you got in a relationship with them and was sent to you to create a relationship with you in order to make claims on you so they would get your money, either by making fake accusations on you or simply just by claiming you and selling contracts on you. And when God showed me how all of this works, you know, I was like, I need to understand how come this came about. How come such a broad network, or better said, myriads of networks were created. God showed me that basically they created these convents and this kind of activity based on the principle very common in communism, which is nationalization. Namely, that you don't have private property. All your property, everything, all your rights is stolen by the central party, the central institution, government, or whatever is there. In this case, the convents. And they used different kind of accusations in order to do this. And they redistribute all those rights. And they have all this craziness ideology whereby they say exactly like the communists used to say, namely that this is for the good of the country, this is for the good of the party, this is for the good of the whatever they say, of the church, or the this and that, you know. And literally, God showed me that there are different types of individuals involved in this. Some of them literally believe in this craziness. They believe, you know, they are indoctrinated to this extent that they believe in the higher good. So actually, they are animated exactly like the Nazis were, like the communists were, by this idea that they are doing the just thing to steal from you because you're the enemy or something like this, you know. And going further, basically God showed me that this entire concept, together with the communist and with the Nazi systems, were created basically as a step forward from the creation of the nation state, which in itself was a manner of stealing from royals. So this is when it started, because the royals essentially were people bestowed with special gifts and protection by God in order to lead. And God showed me that throughout time, certain competition started between royals. Then marriages of convenience were arranged for material purpose in order to gain more power and to have more military power and material abundance in order to carry on wars among each other and to dominate each other, right? And the nation state was created. Then the government, professional government was created, which no, it didn't require anymore that you would be a royal. So they will transfer rights for leadership from royals to these organizations. And from this point forward, basically, they only invented new ideologies from political level in order to steal power. From that moment, then they organized institutional power, institutions which basically have this in their mandate, namely to organize, and also the church as well. And you can go in history and you can research that there's Inquisition, there's the time of Nazi system and of communism, when basically they believed in the higher good of and interests of the political party to take from individuals and to make accusations based on race, based on whatever kind of accusations they decided that it's illegal at that point in time, just in order to create essentially a different type of organization and different system of redistributing power and rights, which were not anymore thought to be divinely decided. But basically, humans were the ones who decided which fortune, which material abundance goes to whom, and according to what criteria, and so on and so forth. And from this point forward, they moved and shifted and so on. Now, if you look at, and also the Nazi system was the one who actually took this further, although Nazis and communists actually worked in parallel, on similar principles. But the Nazi system went further with these concentration camps, where they carried on research on what kind of darkness to send in order to create a system, and what they created, the Aryan nation, which were basically man-made leadership. So they decided to be God and to create this kind of leaders, which would be pure individuals, but not pure because of their own gifts, but pure because they were feeding on the others, based on whatever type of darkness they would send to the others. And this is during the Nazi fall down. Many of the individuals involved in this and carry on this secret got away, were not judged, and recreated that system in these secret societies, which were pursuing dark spirituality, basically. And this is what they have done. Essentially, it's the recreation of the Nazi concept throughout the entire world, with governments, with political parties, and so on. And if you look right now, for years, in Romania, for example, there is a vendetta which is very public, basically, whereby specific politicians are accused and imprisoned for, if you look at it, they say for corruption, but if you truly look at it, they are imprisoned for really embarrassing reasons, because they have done so much harm to the country and to the national interest that it's embarrassing to watch for what kind of reasons they actually incarcerate them, for petty reasons, basically. And I asked God, I knew this before God talked to me about this thing. It was very obvious to anyone that this is a vendetta between politicians, and they are setting up each other with the intelligence community being number one force in doing this. So I clearly saw this by myself. But then God explained to me, I said, why is this going on? And God has said to me, look at this. Do you see how all of them, when they are accused and imprisoned, accused that this is fake accusation, that this is all created against them, and so on and so on? This is karma delivery. Karma is delivered to them because they took office by doing this to you. They stole rights from you, and they made fake accusations on you. Many of you had rights to be presidents, to be prime ministers, to be ministers, and so on. And they took these offices by creating fake judgments, fake accusations, and all of this against you to steal your rights. So now, basically, it is true what they say, that this is fake created. But essentially, it is karma delivered to them because this is how they got power in the first place. And this is how they know that this is created against them on purpose, because this is how they got to power, by creating exactly the same to you. Basically, God guided me to come back to the topic and add this, because it's important to research your individual level. But I will say this, once you research your individual level, and you will understand how much has been stolen from you throughout your entire life, how much of what you lived, the traumas, were on purpose created on you in order to do programming on you, or enslavement, or at least to block you so you cannot advance, and so on. It's so much that basically at some points you're going to have to sit back and say, okay, let's see the broader picture to understand where the fuck this fits in. Who does what to whom? Because it's way too much, there are way too many. And this must be understood in order to actually carry on the spiritual fighting, and to break all the contracts, revoke all the contracts which were created on everybody. This is very important, and this clearly it's what the justice system should do together with the law enforcement and so on. But it's important also for each individual to understand, because the overall system wouldn't have been possible if they didn't create. So it's interconnected. If they wouldn't have created this on you as individual. So many individuals have bondages created on them in order to feed this system which they created, basically. When you will do full research and ask the right questions pertaining all of these that I am actually explaining now, you will see the connections, and of course justice must be done both ways, at individual level but also at overarching level, be it national, be it regional, be it local, be it international, or whatever. But it has to be done literally. I mean, this will be the ascension, and let me say this, God is very determined, and the universe will work this way, that everything will be balanced. So it's either that individuals and structures start actually fighting for divine justice, true justice, and clear this shit up by breaking bondages and revoking contracts and delivering karma to those guilty, or the ascension will go forward anyway, as I said, and this all of these bondages and contracts and so on will literally, physically become unbearable. It will be very painful and will become unbearable. So sooner or later, this is the path to go. So ideally, everybody chooses to do it sooner, so we can actually advance and we can start building something else, because it's not easy to tear down all of this injustice, but something must be placed instead. And it's important that as many as possible start fighting and clearing up their own case in order to be able to create something instead and avoid a chaos. Otherwise, and I will tell you honestly, God has shown me that unless this is being done, the development will be world wars. And we're not talking only about cyber war or about biological agents war and so on, but we're talking about full-on war. It's simply because this is what they created. This is the type of energy they created, the darkness and the confrontation, the conflict, and so on, whereby this is the natural development. But even so, even in this case, you still should have some individuals who cleared their karma and their lineage, and some structures to put in place in order to organize life on earth, basically. I'm going to stop here. God really guided me to actually deliver this information because indeed it was part of my questions, and I always encourage people in this activity, as you break bondage, in order to preserve sanity, because this is madness. To preserve your sanity, you should step back from time to time and look at the broader picture. And every time when something is just really outrageous, I ask that, okay, give me a different perspective, show me something so I can place this in a context so I can understand. Because otherwise, it's just, if you only focus on the injustice done to you, it'll be very hard to overcome the shock of seeing what was done against you and how everybody betrayed you, basically. Okay, I'm gonna stop here. I hope that by now many people have seen their individual case and they started to understand how this is being actually on purpose created against people, only in order to steal. These are individuals who believe that stealing is a way of living, and they have no remorse whatsoever. No remorse whatsoever.